Hey Debbie, hope you're doing well. Looks like Dwayne might be on and Kyle might be watching. Hope y'all are all doing well. And Kyle, if you are still on here, good job Saturday with the men's breakfast, getting all that organized and motivated and all the things that had to happen. Appreciate that, man. Good stuff. All right, well, I'll go ahead and get going. It's a couple minutes uh, after starting time. Usually it gives everybody a little bit of extra uh, getting on here. And look at there, even got Kyle interacting with us. All right. Good stuff, man. All right, so tonight I wanted to discuss, or at least get the conversation going, about the importance of honesty in our, not only in our recovery process, but also in our spiritual growth and our development as good men and women. And I think honesty is something that is extremely important, and it is so often kind of, I wouldn't say it's overlooked, but I think I don't know that I don't know that it's discussed like it should. I know that when we talk about honesty in relationships and things like that, we do talk about how important it is to foster and rekindle trust in relationships. How how oftentimes when we have been dishonest, it has damaged the relationship. So then we sort of flip it around and say, by being honest, it is going to allow healing and foster growth in a relationship. And there's a ton of truth to that. Um, but where I kind of want us to go is more of the being honest with ourselves and I guess in a sense others, because it allows us to be more self-aware when we're truly honest with ourselves. I know just personally, there's a lot of times I have to be, honest about situations and things, just as I am kind of evaluating if I'm handling things the right way or not. I have to be willing to be honest about all the factors that are in there, and it's really easy to not be honest about things, especially when the only person that really knows is you. But that's the only way we get better. And so I want to challenge us as we kind of keep digging deeper, that, the way we examine our thoughts and our actions and being honest about them is the only way we're really going to get better. Because if we're not honest, we're going to just justify our bad behavior. And we've talked about that. We've discussed making excuses for our poor behavior. And honesty is right in there with all this. If we're not honest about the why behind our behaviors, we're never going to get any better. And sometimes we've never maybe even been challenged to be that self-reflective and look more internally at the motives behind why we do what we do. And, for like a simple maybe thing is, you don't share everything that is going on. Maybe you have an accountability person or a friend, or maybe you're just trying to be more upfront with your spouse or your boyfriend, your girlfriend, or a close friend, and you leave things out. That's not necessarily being dishonest, but it isn't being completely honest either. You could probably say, hey, well, I didn't tell a lie. No, you didn't, but maybe you left out something that's very important, or something that should be shared. Maybe if if you're doing something that you shouldn't, or behaving in a certain way, or going somewhere you shouldn't, and you just failed to tell the whole story. Well, maybe you're not actually lying, but you are not being completely honest either. And the only way to get better and grow is to share those things. And the only way to deal with this stuff is through the honest self-examination. So, as we kind of just keep digging in, I think it's important for us to sort of start thinking about this. Because if you struggle with emotional outburst, let's say you struggle with anger, and you're not being honest with yourself about your struggle here, you're not going to be able to identify triggering situations and behaviors that are going to cause you to lash out, if that's something that you're working on. So you've got to be honest about it. You've got to be honest about, these situations cause me to respond in this way. And by identifying these situations, then we're able to deal with things. We don't necessarily have to avoid those situations if we're equipping ourselves to handle those situations better. And the only way we can do that is by being honest about how those scenarios and those situations trigger us and cause us to respond a certain way. And sometimes this is kind of difficult, because we have to be willing to be not only honest about it, but we have to be willing to deal with the hurt and the fear and the shame and all the things that might be swirling around. I know years ago, I had to really come to terms with some hurts and some things that had happened previously in my life, because I was responding in my relationship with my wife based on things that had happened years and years ago. And it wasn't until I was honest about the hurts back then that I was able to get better and not respond, and basically sort of project things that had happened in the past into the now. So something had happened way back when, and there was hurt, and there was fear, and there was anger, and then similar situation happened now, and then I responded based on something in the past. So it's hard, and you have to acknowledge, like, hey man, that really stung, and now I don't want to continue to relive that and continue to act the same way. So I need to be honest. So I think when we begin to be honest, not only does it help us in our trust situations, in our relationships, but then it begins to, obviously build stronger relationships. But it also, in those stronger relationships, there's more accountability. So now we're being honest, and in the relationships now we're getting honest feedback, we're responding in an honest way, and now we're going to be more self-aware, and we're going to be more engaged in the sort of internal dialogue that we have, and therefore we're going to be stronger, honest, and we're going to be more focused, and we're going to be willing to grow. And it takes work, man. So this week, moving forward, think about honesty. Not just in, hey, I didn't lie about why I was late to work, or I didn't lie about, what I did on my lunch hour, or I didn't lie to my wife about what me and my buddies did. No, it's bigger. We're getting a little bit bigger than that. We're getting deeper than that. We're thinking, we don't do that anymore. No, those things like that, we don't do that anymore. But there's another layer of honesty that we're going to start sort of dealing with, and that is we're going to be honest about these feelings, these emotions, these behaviors, these mental responses, these self conversations. We're going to be more honest about them. We're going to be more self aware. We're going to acknowledge certain things, trigger certain behaviors, and we're going to be willing to address them and talk to someone about them and think about them and journal about them and pray about them and read scripture that goes hand in hand with these behaviors and the counter to the behavior, because we want to be more Christ-like every step of the way. So let's start. Let's be honest, and be honest in a deeper way, a more self-reflective way. And let's see what happens. Guys, have a great week. Hope to see y'all all tomorrow out here in Buchanan, One Church, OCR, OC Recovery. Come see us, 6:15. Come eat with us, hang out with us. We'll have a good time. Love you, folks. See you later. And out.